By the time the third police cruiser screeched to a stop, I was standing on my porch, holding a 12-gauge shotgun. Not pointing it, just holding it, trying to tell the police I was putting it away. But Beverly Clean, president of the Maple Hollow Estates HOA, was in full banshee mode, shrieking that I had threatened her, refused to pay the special assessment, and was armed and unstable. One officer called out, telling me to put the shotgun down. I sighed and told him that was what I had been trying to do all morning, but Beverly kept making me pick it back up. Then a low boom rolled across Maple Hollow. Then a second explosion hit much closer, loud enough to rattle windows. A plume of smoke began curling up from behind the HOA clubhouse. Beverly froze, her face draining of color. I looked at the officers and said calmly, and that would be the trunk full of illegal fireworks I had been trying to tell them about. 2 weeks earlier, my life was simple. I was an IT engineer who bought a house despite the HOA, which was a rumor until Beverly Clean arrived. Within 3 months, she'd resurrected the bylaws and declared herself president. Then I received the certified letter that detonated my peaceful life. Notice of special assessment, $100,327.16 due in 30 days for unauthorized alterations, lawn violations, and detrimental property value impact. I went to the board meeting where Beverly, in a blazer that screamed local news interview, showed photos of my house, my rain barrel labeled unapproved water storage device, mosquito threat, and my small shed labeled illegal outbuilding, possible business use. She claimed my mower was a business asset, and I was running an unlicensed landscaping operation. From there, it spiraled. She took photos of my property, peering over my fence. She emailed my mortgage company. She posted on Facebook that I was threatening the board. The turning point came when I found a final notice of lien zip-tied to my doorknob. It looked official, demanding the $100,000 and threatening foreclosure. I called a lawyer specializing in HOA insanity, Mr. Ortiz. He looked over the documents and snorted. "It's not a valid lien. It's cosplay paperwork. She hasn't filed anything with the county. She's trying to scare you." Armed with that information, the quiet, methodical part of my brain reserved for debugging servers latched onto Beverly. I started saving everything, every creepy photo, every anonymous complaint that used her favorite phrase, property values. The escalation came when I was cleaning my shotgun in the garage. Beverly marched up with 3 board members and gave me 48 hours to pay. I pointed out my security camera. She stared at the camera, then at the unloaded shotgun on the workbench. Something mean flickered across her face. She said softly that I was armed and threatening. I told her I was not. She smiled. 2 hours later, the police showed up in force. I calmly met the officers on the porch. I put the shotgun down, raised my hands, and pointed out my doorbell camera and my garage camera, both of which had caught the entire earlier, non-threatening interaction. But as the officers spread out, the whole scene changed. A phrase came over the air: "Be advised, reports of an explosion behind the HOA clubhouse. Possible illegal fireworks or explosives. Smoke visible." I slowly looked at Beverly. Her face had gone white. It turned out the community beautification storage unit was holding several $1,000s worth of high-grade fireworks Beverly had been buying for future events and storing illegally right next to a gas power generator. The entire unit went up like a patriotic volcano. Now, explosions next to a clubhouse, combined with a 911 call about a dangerous armed man who threatened to blow up the board, attract federal attention. The ATF arrived fast. The fire marshal walked up, asking who was responsible for the storage unit. Beverly confessed that she signed the lease and purchase orders as president. The marshal scribbled something on his clipboard that made her visibly shrink. An officer approached me. My footage clearly showed I did not threaten anyone. Another officer joined him, holding a printout of my fake lien documents. County says nothing was filed. It looks like she fabricated a legal notice and sent it through the mail. That could be mail fraud. Ortiz, my lawyer, actually made a little happy lawyer noise. The officers turned to me and asked for copies of all my documentation of the HOA's actions, emails, notices, videos. I smiled, slow and tired. I told them they were going to want a bigger flash drive. The fallout was immediate. Beverly was formally charged with filing a false police report, harassment, trespassing, and attempted mail fraud. The ATF piled on with citations for illegal storage of explosives and reckless endangerment. The emergency community meeting was held in the school gym because the clubhouse was still half a crater and smelled like melted plastic and shame. Beverly, without her blazer, stood at a folding table and tried to spin, saying this was all for the good of Maple Hollow. The HOA's emergency compliance officer, brought in from the management company, snapped that Beverly had fabricated fines, misused HOA funds to buy illegal fireworks, and abused emergency services. The compliance officer asked if I had anything to say before the final vote. I stood, looked at Beverly, then at the crowd and said, "Next time someone tells you they are about to charge you $100,000 to store a lawnmower, maybe do not let them buy fireworks with your money." The vote to remove Beverly was unanimous. She was convicted on the lesser criminal charges and given 2 years probation. She was hit with a total of $97,000 in fines and restitution, including $20,000 for the illegal fireworks storage and $30,000 in restitution to me. She had to sell her house and move into an apartment complex with no HOA. As the judge read the sentence, listing each massive fine, Beverly's shoulders sagged. The woman who once ruled Maple Hollow had finally discovered that real consequences do, in fact, detonate.